Hi, I'm Brian, and I'm an industrial engineer grad. Pinky. I am now currently working as a senior business analyst at Loblaw headquarters, President Choice Circle. The department I'm working for is business process for the enterprise. And something about myself is I love basketball. Ever since grade 8, grade 7, I started playing basketball. I was the smallest kid on the court. I was a little Asian guy who couldn't run fast, was not the biggest, was not the tallest, but I loved the challenge, and that what really drove me to get better and better at it. As I go into grade 9, I decided that I'm gonna be on the basketball team. Like, hey, I don't have the odds, but that's a heck of a challenge, and I'm gonna do it. So I failed 3 years in a row until grade 12. Then eventually I made it to the team. And that really taught me a lesson. It taught me about persistence and the willingness to grind through if you want something. And that level of challenge really excited me and really brought me towards the outcome and go through the process. And that really aligns with who I am as a value as a person is I love challenge and I like to live a life of meaning and be challenged and do things that are impactful. So why would I be a great fit? Someone would talk about my experience. Last year, I was spending my time in the Ryerson Data Science Lab, looking at data sets and working specifically with Hadoop system in a cluster format using PySpark. So we would have a link that you submit your analyze your Python script, and you submit it using Hadoop submit or PySpark submit, and you will submit your files onto the cluster system. And I have the opportunity to work and develop and build that. And that really got me familiar with Hadoop ecosystem with Pig, Hive, and PySpark. And then I had some experience in the winter as I was very curious about full stack web development. So I took a course on full stack to really learn about from HTML, CSS, frameworks, Flask, React, all the way till Linux and how you set up the database to launching it with AWS. So that's something I was extremely interested in because it's just emerging technology and there's a lot of value in that. And then I had the opportunity to work my capstone at Magna Seating Systems here in Toronto or Brampton. And it was a project on developing a decision model that determines whether line side inventory should be placed combined or sequence. And what combine means is you place the bin onto the onto the line directly. So if you had red, blue, white, you place all those parts directly onto the line. And sequence means I'm gonna have one bin with all of my colors, red, blue, and white, but they're gonna line up in the sequence manner of my assembly. So there was a big decision tool in making that because there's a lot of efficiencies and a lot of waste that goes into that. And I got the opportunity to help build a simulation model that determines the consumption rate that will eventually feed into the decision model. So now currently I'm started in April working at Loblaws for the business process team. I spent 50% of my time working on change management projects, which is pretty cool. For example, I was working on the design studio. We had the chance to map out the current process for design studios. So all of the President's Choice products and all the different types of projects. And we mapped out the process in order to develop the future state to eliminate waste and improve efficiency. And then the other 50% of my time is spent on building power apps. So there's a big emerging technology with applications, and Microsoft offer a service referred to as Power Apps. So you basically build a Canvas app that helps with the business function, and you build that from scratch. I built that from scratch, and the team I built it for was the live assortment team. So the live assortment team is the core business process for Loblaws, is how the product on the shelf gets into the store. And that whole process has over 20 teams and 60 weekly meetings that the LiveStormer team has to facilitate. So they wanted a attendance tracker that will keep track of all these different meetings and then say, hey, this team, supply chain, did not go to the meeting 20% of the time. That's a problem. They need to be there so we can make the decision to get the product into the store. Because anytime the product's not in the store, it's waste. It's just sitting in the DCs. So currently I've finished that and we're starting to implement that in all of the teams. And yeah, and that's why I think I would be a great fit, as I have both the sides of the technical experience and also the business process experience. So you can really drive the value and understand the technology and where the value can be added in, and how you can design great applications that serve that function. Now, why would I want this job? And this is a really interesting question. And I did some research on the company, and especially on the Dragon's Den, and it was very exciting to watch. You know, some people in my family are entrepreneurs, and I remember as a kid working at my aunt's restaurant that she started up, and there was always a lot of struggle, and she always needed help. And funding was very difficult, especially in China, where there's some political issues with money back then, especially. Everything's state-owned. I really wish there was some way that they could have helped entrepreneurs. And I wish that maybe in some ways I could lend a hand to other entrepreneurs and other people and maybe be a part of that change. And that'd be something that's really important to me and really value. And secondly, I would love a challenge. And I think trying to shake up the banking system and the banking model of traditional how you lend money is very exciting, and the impact is tremendous. I mean, entrepreneurship might be on the beginning. What else? What's next? And lastly, just the opportunity to work with such a great team, and you guys seem like you have such a great vibe, and there's so much professionalism. It's very fast paced, and I love that because I always want to be challenged. So I hope you guys will get back to me, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you.